Chuck and Kelly doing it again is a pretty fabulous finale to the first season of Back to You. To give some information, this is technically the season finale, and it's episode 14, but there are 3 other episodes, and according to IMDb, they aired after the fact in Australia. They were released on the US DVD release. I have no idea if they're available in the UK. They're not on Amazon Prime, so there are 3 episodes that I haven't seen, but this is the season finale. And I have to say, I'm really pleased with how it unfolded. I had a feeling, at least I 100% expected, that they would be telling everybody about Gracie. And I wasn't sure what would happen. This isn't necessarily what I thought would happen, but I really enjoyed it. So there will be spoilers from now as I talk through the episode and share some thoughts. It is, of course, directed by the wonderful James Burrows. And it starts off with Chuck and Kelly driving Gracie to school. And we're then in the studio building, and apparently Gracie's teacher was kind of bothered about everything when they went in to tell her about Chuck. And that seems like a weird reaction for a teacher to have. But Chuck then started to worry that people in the station would have a similar reaction. Kelly didn't seem bothered. But then they went out to tell everybody, and at the last minute she got scared and said they were buying everybody coffee and muffins instead. And they're back in the office talking about how they're going to approach this, and Ryan comes in with the new campaign. And the slogan for the new campaign is Chuck and Kelly doing it again. And the poster is, let's just say Kelly is in the front and Chuck is standing behind her. And obviously the image coupled with the slogan definitely seems very sexual. And then if they're about to tell everybody that they slept together 10 and however many years ago, it's going to make things very awkward. So they decide to go and tell Ginger Co. And I don't love the fact that Ginger was the first person they told. I feel like it makes sense within the context of the episode, but I kind of wished it was going to be Marsh. But we'll come back to Marsh in a little bit. And she actually threatens to put them on the morning show if they tell anybody. Because if they tell people, it's going to make a mockery of this really expensive campaign. And obviously Ginger doesn't want that. So she tells them they can't tell anybody. And I don't feel like she has the right to tell somebody what they can do with their own personal information. But the threat is real and neither of them wants to be on the morning show. So they decide to keep it quiet for now. At this point, it's unclear what's going to happen, but they then have a news broadcast, and then during the break, they talk with Gracie, and they tell Gracie, we're going to wait a little bit, and she's quite upset, because she was hoping that at long last she'd get to go to this annual father-daughter event, and because they're not willing to tell people because of what people might say, she is going to have to miss out. That's not what Gracie said, but that is what we have with this situation. Chuck and Kelly are not willing to tell people because of the backlash, but because of that, Gracie has to miss out again. And I think this really sunk in with Chuck, because they go back on air immediately after, and Chuck decides to tell everybody. And Gary and Ryan's responses in that moment, while wearing the Chuck and Kelly Doing It Again t-shirts, I just thought was fantastic. And then, of course, they end the broadcast and they go out to see everybody. Gracie is really happy and everybody's applauding them. And it's beautiful. It's not what I expected. But as I mentioned, well, I've probably mentioned this a few times, my incorrect prediction, was that they would tell one person in one episode and then somebody would find out in the next episode and so on. I didn't really expect everybody to find out at once. Not that it's a bad thing, it's just not what I'd predicted. So I didn't really expect everybody to just stand up and applaud because I didn't expect everybody to find out at the same time. But it was really, really sweet and I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And it's also really awkward because they're all wearing the Chuck and Kelly Doing It Again t-shirts, which I love. I think it's brilliant. And then Marsh tells Chuck that he was just waiting for him to tell him because he knew, because Gracie was so much like him. And I thought that was just so sweet. So even though I wanted Marsh to be the first to find out, he already knew. So I guess that's kind of true. But I thought it was a beautiful moment. I think everybody handled it really well. And then we have the final scene. and Chuck and Kelly are freezing cold and trying to not fall asleep on the morning show. Ginger was true to her word, which is awful, but it is a really solid ending to a really great first and only season. I've really thoroughly enjoyed this. I would like to track down the other 3 episodes. Maybe I'll import the DVD if it's not horrendously expensive. I don't mind paying a little bit to get it imported. I might do that. If I do that, I will review those episodes in due course. I'll have a look into that and see what it's like. But as a season finale, I thought it was pretty great. Absolutely not the way I thought things were going to go, but I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it. Chuck and Kelly doing it again is a pretty fabulous end to a really brilliant season, and I'm just sad we only have 1 season. If you haven't seen it, then I've just ruined everything for you, and I apologise, but I think it's a pretty brilliant show, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it.